Hello, welcome to Loot Level Chat, the podcast from Loot Level Chill. I'm your host, Mick Fraser, and I'm joined today by the three wise men. We have bringing frankincense, Steve Chambers.
Hiya.
Bringing myrrh, Kieran Singh.
Oh, that's the best one.
Bringing the gold, Lyle Pend.
Always believe.
Nice.
Very good.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
How is everyone? You all right?
All right.
Yeah, fucking
Not
great.
bad. Not a lot-
Been
yeah,
playing
nothing to
games
tell you,
and that,
really.
you know.
Been playing games. That's what we do. It's what we do when we're lucky enough to play games. And it's been a busy one. Well, it would be weird if we didn't play games, wouldn't it? What would we talk about? Watched a film.
Food and shit.
Yeah, watched a film. Had some dinner. What did you have for dinner? I had an omelette for dinner.
I had eggs for dinner too.
Did you?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
Do you not feel like you've missed out on dinner by having an omelette at that point, though?
no. It had bacon in it.
Fair enough.
yes. Depends how good an omelette it is, doesn't it? If you
Yeah.
have a shit
15
omelette,
eggs.
Well, the wife
Yeah.
had to take the kids out after school, so they all got a McDonald's. And since I'm being good, not because it's a New Year's resolution, but because I had a medical at work and found out that I've got fatter than I was last year, so
Right.
I said no. So she came home and said, "What would you like?" And I said, "I want an omelette." So she made me an omelette, and that's the story of that.
nice.
I feel like it
it.
would been
And-
a part of your life even more than normal now. It's great.
Yeah.
And that's a podcast. So thanks for listening to what I had for my dinner. No, we are going to talk about some games because once again we've been playing some stuff. We have been playing. Well, I've been playing a very, very big game, and Lyle has been playing a very, very highly anticipated game. I'd say.
Yeah,
one of them
and-
in particular,
And also big.
and
Oh,
also
it's
big, is it? Yeah,
ridiculously
and
big, yeah.
even I'm kind of curious about this one. So let's start with that. Let's start with Mewgenics, Lyle. And
Eugenics. Ooh, I've been
can-
excited to talk about this.
yeah,
for a
because
fucking long
I'm
time.
excited to hear because I'm really intrigued by this.
So I'll do elevator pitch, and then I'll really excite you with some absolute bullshit stories that just make the game fantastic. But the elevator pitch of Mewgenics is it's a tactics game where you fight with cats, and then outside of the tactics stuff, you go back to your house and you breed the cats, and then you take them and you fight them again. All this stuff sounds almost normal. Let's not like go too heavy on that, but it sounds almost normal, but like it's really, really not. I mean, it's, you know, Edmund, McMillen, like Binding of Isaac level bullshit, isn't it?
Oh, God, yeah.
So there is much more to it than that. But like right now, because I've been playing so much of it all the time for weeks and weeks, because they sent it nice and early, because they also said that to see like the true ending, it might take you like 200 hours. So like, you know, alright, mate. Jesus.
Ooh,
Yeah, so yeah, I've been playing it quite a lot. Oddly enough. And yeah, it's basically like as of right now, I would say it might be my favorite tactics game, and that's just the end of that sentence. It's so good.
and you've played a lot of tactics games.
I've played a lot of tactics games all the time. I'm playing tactics games because, you know, all the time I'm playing all sorts of shit. But yeah, I've played loads of them. This might be my favorite. And a lot of the reason for that is the depth, the ridiculous depth of systems that link together in sort of like fun and silly ways a lot of the time. But the best way to open about this game, and this is what's really cool about Mewgenics, is it's definitely going to be one of those games where it has that like water cooler element of like you can talk to a friend about something fucking mental that happened and they'll be like, what, how does that happen in this game? And like it's got that sort of that longevity in that sort of respect. So if you have lots of people who play Mewgenics, you're going to get to hear lots of stories and learn more as you go. My story of the day, to start off Mewgenics chat, is I had a cat who was zero intelligence stupid. He was my warrior cat, because you give them all different collars and that basically makes them different classes. And I managed to have like equipment that meant and a few different things that meant that like I had increased strength but reduced intelligence. So on the run, it's like, you know, each run's sort of like roguelike-esque, and there's a few sort of random events that happen. And when you have one of these random events, there's usually a few options you can pick from, and it'll be one of your cats doing it. And this cat, when he went to this event and saw a massive turd, all his options were just gobbledygook, because he can't read, he can't speak, he's too stupid. So they just have 4 gobbledygook options. I pick one of them at random because I fucking have to. And he eats the shit and becomes scatological. So he becomes obsessed with shit. This means that at the start of every fight, if there's a poo within range, instead of getting to move him, he moves to the poo and eats it automatically to use up his movement. So that's what happens. That's not helpful. He eats so much poo, he gets ill, and then every time he moves, he does a poo because he has diarrhea. So there's always more poo, and I can't control where he goes ever. And then he gets rabies just because that happens too. And this is just like the sort of nonsense that happens.
That's just a typical run in this game, isn't it?
Just a normal run, yeah, just a normal thing that happens. So like all this is happening, and then I eventually managed to make it so he at least doesn't shit every time he moves. So sometimes I get to actually use this cat in battle, which was pretty helpful because it's a hard game. Like it can be quite brutal at times, especially with some like really intricate boss fights. And then I got to a specific boss fight, and this boss, when it dies, it leaves a single poo to kill. It's in the sewers, and it leaves a single poo. And my cat, who was obsessed with shit, knew that poo was inside the boss, ate it in one bite, and I didn't even have to fight it.
And that's just one of the random bits of bullshit that happen in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And there is so much like that. And because you always have the like 4 cats that you're building as you go through a run, you can like obviously manipulate these systems in such intricate and stupid ways that you can like kind of break the game in really fantastic ways that mean you don't just get fucked by the difficulty, which does happen sometimes. So
that's kind of what you're always going for, isn't it? You're always looking for those synergies that will allow you to become game-breakingly powerful, and that's how you know you're going to get a good run out of it. Sometimes 100%. You'll go in and within the first couple of levels, you'll be like, this doesn't seem to be going anywhere, and then one item you could collect or one power that you're going to get from that can turn it all around in a heartbeat.
100%.
Because suddenly you've got a synergy not just within a single cat's abilities, but how they then synergize with the rest of the team.
100%. Yeah, that's exactly like that's how you need, like, because I think especially as I got further into the game, because like you can sort of muddle your way through when it's going wrong, and it often goes well enough that you at least survive a run, if not like do the best you ever can.
Yeah.
But like I got to a point fairly like quickly where I realized how powerful it was to have different minions, where like at the end of a turn, one of your cats might shit out a worm because it's got worms, and then you've got a little worm friend who'll help you. And then if you combine that with having a cleric with the right ability, this is probably the one I use the most. It's anytime any of your allies get killed, whoever kills them takes 10 damage, because like it's like a holy "you shall not kill my people" thing. So if you just spawn unlimited minions, then you're basically just dealing damage with, you know, worms and fleas at that point, and that's great.
Because they've all got 1 HP, they're basically just going out there as explosives at that point.
Yeah, they're just little explosive, you know, parasites, but you know, helpful parasites.
So how does this game play? Like, is it? Sorry, Steve. Is it like because I don't know anything about this except what I've heard. Because I've heard Edmund McMillen on a few interviews and different podcasts and stuff talk about it.
Like 12 years.
Yeah, because it's been going for a long time. But I don't think I've ever really heard anyone speak about what kind of game it is, and I haven't seen any of it. So like,
yeah. So basically, yeah, you'll take you pick 4 cats from your house. You give them different collars to give them, you know, typical classes of your tank, warrior, mage, cleric, necromancer, thief. You know, there's a lot more than that, but you know, that's a nice handful of the fairly early ones that you'll use pretty often. And then it sort of goes out into sort of like a roguelike run where you'll go to different nodes. You don't really choose your path in that way, but like, you know, there'll be different events that happen that you know get to sort of see play out. And then you'll have battles, which are very much grid tactics, like standard stuff. So you'll have 8 or 9 different worms or rabid cats or zombies or, bin bags with slime inside, all the typical gross.
The classic enemy selection.
Yeah, just anything that's sort of a bit horrible looking and very much just looks like it's from The Binding of Isaac, because everything does.
Oh yeah, the amount of times I've done the Leo DiCaprio meme where you see just a graphic for me, yep, that's the one.
Yep, 100%. So yeah, you have the fights. The fights involve lots of poo and blood and fun, alongside making tough decisions of where to move and what's important to target first. And then once you go through that, beat enough bosses, and eventually come home, you go back to your house, and that's when the cat breeding starts. And the cat breeding isn't so much oh, these are my 2 best cats, I'll tell them to breed. The cat breeding is you just sort of have your cats in the house and you press end day and you just sort of see what happens. And sometimes 2 cats will try to fuck and one of them will be like, nah, I'm not in the mood, so you don't get a kitten that night. Sometimes instead of that, one of the 2 cats will just start fighting and one will end up with a broken leg. And alongside this, there's this whole town of people helping you breed cats who will take different sorts of cats for permanent upgrades. So one person just wants all the injured cats because he's a very fragile injured man. And if you do that, he'll give you, upgrades to how big your storage is and stuff like that. One will take older cats. So if you keep them around for longer, instead of, giving them away sooner or taking them on adventures, then you can do it that way. Someone wants cats with mutations, and the mutation side of the game goes a bit wild once you get deep into it. You can have cats that don't have mouths, and I found out pretty quickly when I made one of those a mage that they can't cast spells because they don't have a mouth to cast them. So you just had sort of a walking idiot that didn't help much in battle. Yeah,
but you learn from that, Lyle, don't you? That's the thing. You learn afterwards. You go, right, pick yourself up, brush it off, go again.
100%. It does better than any roguelike I can think of. It does that you feel like you're learning, and that's what's making you stronger more than anything else, because so much can happen that there's a probably the biggest hurdle early in the game is this in the second act there's a desert area. And in the desert, you need water, otherwise your healing doesn't work, basically. So you have to collect water from various shops and use it as a usable item in battles and stuff like that. But you also learn that if you use a water spell on anyone who's holding a water bottle that's empty, then it fills it up. So you can use little there's all these little tricks, all these little tips that eventually, once you learn and figure out and just play around with the systems, because there are so many systems.
Because very little of this has been tutorialized as such, has it? You just kind of learn it from experience. You
do, and it's not it never feels like you're just getting your arse handed to you because you don't know what's going on either. You sort of muddle through, but then eventually no matter what on a run, especially, in your first 20, 30, 40 hours with the game, something will come up where you go, oh shit, I hadn't realized that. That's good to know. The time I used my whirlwind attack next to a cactus and my warrior died because he punched a cactus 5 times. And I just thought it was a normal tile. And it wasn't a normal tile. He punched spikes and died.
Which makes sense logically, but you just don't realize it's a mechanic until you've done it. So
yeah, there's always an element of sense in the background to all these things, and if you think about it, you're oh yeah, okay, sure, that makes sense. Eating poo isn't great. That's a good lesson for all of us.
It's even the little things. I hadn't realized for a while that you'll get different armors and clothing to put on the cats, and if you combine, say, 3 parts that are all leather, you'll get a certain buff because you've got an entire set of something. Yeah. And none of that is really explained until you do it. And suddenly you're oh, right, okay, so I can now look out for these things, combine together to buff me even more than they would have done individually.
And they always look similar. So you're oh, well, I don't know why I've got these 2 tire-based pieces of equipment, but I guess now that I've understand that there's sets, if I find a third one, because you can keep the equipment between runs in your in your storage, and they're like more likely to break the more often you use them. But you can kind of piece things together and try and be sensible with it.
I guess that degradation mechanic is there just so you don't have these all-powerful runs straight from the off each time. Because if you could just keep stacking them, it's too much in your favor. But if you know there's a chance that when you go out, it's broken, it's going in the bin when you get back, you're always like, oh, do I risk it on this run? Do I feel powerful enough with these guys? See how they get on?
Yeah, 100%.
It brings another element of strategy into it before you've even set foot on the battlefield.
Yeah, and it's definitely, I think what's good about the whole like game breaking side of it is it's been like so carefully crafted, this game, to make sure that to get to that point you need like 2 or 3 pieces to slot into place at just the right sort of way, and otherwise you'll never quite get to the point where it's like so broken it's unfair in your favor. But like it's almost always an option, and there's always ways to try and make that work out in your favor. Yeah, like Steve said.
Well, even if you're, because obviously the cats that you take out, you don't have to complete a run with. You can finish a run at the end of an area.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking, right, I've got certain traits I'd love to breed and create Uber Cat at the end of it, the game might just decide you're not going to do that, because like Lyle said, it's a bit of a dice roll to see what you're going to end up with beyond those anyway. So you can't even brute force it that way.
I love that randomized stuff that you get in a lot of modern roguelikes, though. That's become like, Hades made it like really popular to have that kind of. I know games have been doing it before that, where you've had like random power-ups and you don't know what you're going to get between rooms and stuff. But I think ever since Hades, it's been like a real big thing where you like if you get lucky with like drops or power-ups, or you can just sometimes just sail through the game. Yeah. To a certain extent, and then other times, other times it's like, I don't fucking, because like we talked about Returnal last week, that was the same. If you just got lucky and got good stuff, you'd piss through, and that's how I finished it, because I just had a really lucky
other times you're scraping by to get to the next world.
So I'm quite looking forward to. I think I'm going to try this. Mewgenics.
It's definitely worth a go, man.
I'm not a big fan of Isaac. I'm not a big fan of Binding of Isaac, because it's not my sort of thing. But this just looks really interesting and weird.
I mean, I'm known for having a bit of a love of Isaac as far as it goes.
Somewhat,
a little bit.
Yeah, just a little. And it's that synergistic element that kept me going in that. And I say it has become more and more of a thing, like you say, with Hades and stuff. And people are seeing it. That level of random creates interest and keeps you coming back. The thing that I thought, I don't know if you thought with this as well, Lyle, I'm used to Isaac being potentially, if you go for a full run through the game, you're probably talking 40, 45 minutes, give or take.
Yeah.
These runs can be a lot longer than that. You can easily spend a couple of hours and only you've got through the first 2 or 3 areas, essentially, depending on whether you might take a harder path or an easier path through it as well. Each run does require a little bit of dedication.
It does, but at the same time, I can't say that like I feel like they also have been flying by for me, to the point where like I sort of struggle to notice, other than like when I look at a clock and I'm like, oh shit, what's going on now?
It's not that they drag at all, but it's just a case of suddenly it's gone from something that I would associate with being I've got a quick hour, let's blast through a run of this. Now it's like, I'm going to pause because I'm 2 hours in and I can still have another 2 hours plus to finish it through.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Good, you can come back to it so easily for that as well.
Yeah, everything you ever need is always laid out, and usually there'll be fairly memorable like traits to each of your cats that you like. You will slip back into it. It's certainly not one of those where if you pause partway through a run, you come back, don't know what you're doing, and get fucked immediately. Like that's just not how it necessarily works. It's much more easy to pick back up for sure.
It also adds a bit of a. Have you seen the punishment for trying to save scum it, Lyle?
Oh yeah.
so you've got the Animal Crossing-esque. Oh, what's his name, Mr. Rossetti?
Yeah.
You've got an analog to that will basically fuck you up for trying to save scum. And he'll do the classic. He'll warn you once, and then he'll take his revenge on you.
Yeah, that's a shame, because I'm a pathological save scum.
Well,
that ain't happening here, mate.
Good luck with that. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
I would say it's definitely been worth the wait. That's for sure.
Yeah, and
it has been a long time coming, and I feel like it's been talked about for a lot longer than active development time. I think it's only been actively in development for about 4 to 5 years, for a guess, somewhere there.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
think
felt
there's
like
been
it's been on the
something-
cards for longer.
I mean, I think there's been some big gaps in that development, haven't there, since
Yeah,
like
for
you know,
sure.
announcement and whatnot, because that
Yeah.
was
But
long
it's
ago. But yeah.
certainly been worth the wait, man. I'd recommend anyone that's, even if you're not into tactics games,
Yeah,
it's simple enough to get your brain around, because sometimes I guess it can be a bit daunting when you've got this style of game that feels like it's a bit niche. But this is welcoming enough that after a couple of runs, you'll be so comfy with it.
Yeah, it's not like there's not all these different like things to get your head around. It's all like all the numbers are fairly low. You never have too many different moves you can do. Like you're not like leveling up individual characters and thinking about builds and stuff. That's more of like the breeding side. Like even when you level up, it's like pick one new move or pick one stat to go up. Like it's rarely something where you're really struggling to like piece together and like parse that information to do your very best, because like it sort of is obvious enough to figure that stuff out for yourself until you get to the point of like trying to break things, and that's more the sort of discovery side of things, which I just think it just makes it so much more enjoyable to keep playing, because you see new ideas every run, no matter what, or new nations or just new items and how they can break other characters and stuff like that.
Because there are so many items in this as well. There's got to be a few hundred again, hasn't there? It's mad.
Easily. And then each class, I believe, has 75 active abilities, so like attacks and shit like that, and 25 passives that you can see, and you sort of unlock more as you win more runs with them and things like that. So there's so much to it. Like there's on the Steam page, it says there are 10 plus classes, and I know that there are at least that many, but I like that 10 plus could be 20, and I wouldn't be like necessarily surprised. It's just that there's still so much to do, because there's like side quests you get to do as part of things, and just all sorts of things that like I don't feel like I was expecting. Like, because you play through for like the first 10 hours maybe of this game in the sort of first area, I guess, the first act, and you kind of think you've got a handle on it and you're enjoying it, and then like so much more opens up and so much more is discovered. Like you get different bosses that attack your house, so you have to use your retired cats to defend it, and all these different extra elements that they just really work so well together. And yeah,
and I feel like if history has taught us anything from Edmund, there's going to be a lot more over time as well. This is a game definitely. I can see being added to for years.
Yeah, I'm in the Discord, like the press Discord for this, like whole thing. I know I'm very, very, I'm very, very, very
You're an important guy.
Important, yeah, you know how it is. And clearly, Edmund and Tyler have just talking about how much like they don't want to stop developing for this game. They clearly like absolutely love getting to tweak and add new things, and like I think that's going to be the case for a pretty long time, because this is like about as much of a passion project and labor of love as you can get, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like I said, I want to check it out. I think it's sort of piqued my interest a little bit. It's not. I don't play tactics games much, but this one looks just really interesting, and I do like that sort of that brand of humour, like you mentioned. Sounds pretty good. But yeah, going from a game that is quite humorous to a game that is just fucking completely humourless. Unless you count like the accidental tongue-in-cheek like operaticness of it all, is because I've been playing Nioh 3, which is also enormous, but in a very different way. Do you guys play Nioh? Did you guys play Nioh or Nioh 2?
I've played a fair chunk of Nioh 1. I played a little of Nioh 2.
See, I played I think I finished Nioh once, but I finished Nioh 2 twice and a bit, because I really like Nioh 2. I thought it was fantastic. I didn't like Wo Long as much, even though it's very, very similar. They sort of just swapped Japan for China, and they had in Wo Long, and they just made you like parry more like Sekiro was, which I was a bit less into. But yeah, so I've been playing Nioh 3. I've just reviewed it. It's up on the site, and yeah, it's really good. But it's so the big change here is that it's gone open world, which sort of open world. It doesn't call itself open world. It calls itself open field. Yeah, it's set in ancient Japan, but it's like different eras of ancient Japan. And then it's every area, like every sort of time period is an area.
Okay.
If you
That's
like.
cool.
Yeah.
And it's quite open. Like everyone is like an open world in of itself. They're quite large. They're not like it's equivalent.
Is it kind of like wide linear essentially?
Yeah, it's kind I'd say that every area is like equivalent to an area of like Elden Ring. Do you know what I mean? It's so it's not it's not one big open, like seamless open world, but every area you're in is large. Like, and there's all like they've all got like there's optional bosses roaming around. There's enemy bases to conquer. There's all that sort of stuff that's like you'd normally find in an open world now, but it's all like condensed.
Yep.
So yeah, it's kind of gone open world, and it's kind of weird in terms of difficulty because I hate the term, and I will go on record as hating the term Masocore, and anyone who fucking uses it, I hate it. It's the most.
I've never heard that.
I have. It's something that fucking. I'm not going to name sites that use it, but you see it around Nioh.
You hate them.
Yeah, you see it around particularly like the Nioh games and like Wo Long, as opposed to like Souls-like is a Souls-like, but they decided to create a new name for these, and it's Masocore, which is a fucking stupid word. But basically, it's a Souls-like, right? And I remember when I wrote the the Nioh 2 review in another life way back when, I deliberately didn't use the term Souls-like at all in the review because they don't feel like Souls games. They use the same principles. You know, you die, you drop your Amrita, you have to go and get it back. You have to find a shrine in order to like level up and save. Enemies respawn on death or when you save.
All of those tropes then, yeah.
It's all those tropes, but it plays like Ninja Gaiden. It's a Koei Tecmo game.
It's always been faster and more action heavy, hasn't it? Comparatively,
yeah,
it's more a quick reflex as opposed to
it's not so much
things tactically as you go.
Yeah, you don't get rewarded so much for like taking your time and being measured like you do in a Dark Souls or like Elden Ring. In this, it's about speed and maneuverability and like. But what they've done in this, so in Nioh, there's a mechanic in all of them. Which is called a burst counter. So you'll be fighting away at an enemy, and you've got a key, and the enemy's got a key, and this is like stamina, basically, right? And when you fight, you hit an enemy, and then you get a little ring appears around you, and if you press the R1 at the right time on PlayStation, which is what I reviewed it on, you get a key pulse, and you get some stamina back. And the idea is to reduce your opponent's stamina, and then you can do a big attack, like a Bloodborne parry, like gun parry or whatever. So the enemy will occasionally do a great big red attack, which is called a burst attack. And then if you press R2 at the right time, you counter it. And that's like always been the central mechanic of Nioh. It's always been like the burst counters. That's how you get extra damage on a boss and punish the boss. And like bosses usually have like at least always one, but sometimes 2 or 3 different burst attacks, and you've got to kind of anticipate which one it is, and it's really intricate.
I've always thought it's more rhythmic than like a classic Souls.
Yeah. It's very much like in Sekiro, where you get you have to do the big parry. I can't remember what the attacks are called, but you get like the Japanese characters will come up above.
And you have to use it to time whatever you need to do.
Yeah, I've got to hit that just right. It's kind of like that, and it's kind of like that. So, but in normal Nioh games, in the previous Nioh games, should I say, the burst counter is just a counter. Like they attack you, you do the burst counter. If you knock enough ki off them, you'll stagger them. You can go in for a big attack, or you just usually will get a couple of seconds to deal some extra damage. Nioh 3 introduces this mechanic where you have 2 styles. So you have a samurai style and a ninja style. And you equip entire loadouts for both styles. So
you're doing 2 builds hand in hand then?
Yeah, exactly. So both styles, you can use the same gear if you want. Like they use different weapons, because the samurai style uses heavy armor and like heavy weapons like naginatas and things like that, odachis, whereas the ninja uses like tonfas and claws, and obviously they wear like ninja outfits, like it's like light armor, shinobi like stuff, and
so very Assassin's Creedy then, as far as it goes.
That's
So
what I was
far,
thinking.
Yeah. And it's so you've got this too, it very much, but it combines it into like your character.
Cool.
But the thing it does is to change styles, you press the right trigger, the R2 button, and that just switches. It's instant. It's like woman, you're in your different gear. You can't do it mid.
I was going to say, can you do it as a mid combo so you're combining those two styles in one?
Kind of can. Like, it doesn't affect anything. It doesn't change your stamina levels or your health or anything like that. So you can switch between the two. Like, you can switch to samurai if you want to deal some heavy damage on a slower enemy, and then or if you've got multiple enemies, like kill one when the other one runs in, switch to ninja and like fuck them up with claws,
bounce out the way.
The damage is kind of like analogous. Like, it's not that much more damage or defense for the samurai style, but it's noticeable. But the thing is, like I said, it's mapped to the right trigger, and so is the burst counter. So when you do a burst counter, you automatically switch.
That's a weird oversight,
and it's the one thing that, well, it's deliberate, but it's the one thing that really sort of wound me up for the whole time I played Nioh 3. Like, I really, really liked it. I got used to it after a while, but it would be really annoying because I played almost exclusively in the samurai style because I like the switchglaive, which in Nioh is basically like it's a little bit like switch axe in Monster Hunter or something.
Okay, yeah.
It starts off as like it's like a big scythe. Yep. But when it's got three like every main weapon for the samurai, it's got three stances: a high, mid, and low. But with the switchglaive, low stance is it's folded over, so you're really quick with it. And then the mid stance, it's like a scythe, and then the high stance, it's like extended out and the blade's bigger, and it's like really cool. And I love it. It's my favorite weapon, and you don't get it at the beginning of Nioh 2. And I was like, "Where's the fucking switchglaive?" And at a certain point in the game, you get one, and I was like, finally. And it's just I love it. So I stayed a samurai, and I only switched to ninja because the samurai can do the samurai build has the stances. The ninja build has the magic. So if you want to use magic or throw in stars, you switch to the ninja build. And because there's enemies that you just can't hit unless you jump and hit them or throw some at them, when I was exploring, I'd often switch to ninja because it moves a little bit quicker,
a bit more nimble,
and you've got like throw in stars and magic and stuff. So like it's a really, really good system. But when I was on bosses, I would constantly, at least for the first like 10 or 12 hours of the game, I would constantly counter a burst attack and then be like carry on hacking away and realize that I'm doing like not enough damage, and then
because I've switched
and my brain hasn't clicked that I've switched. And then because the samurai has the parry and the ninja has the dodge mechanic, it's like I'd like try and like I'd do a perfect parry, but with like ninja claws, and it'd take like half my health off.
Oh, right, okay.
And and so it was just like, why have you done this? Like, why can't I just choose a style?
Yeah, what's the logic behind that?
Why does it make me switch? And I guess it's to add an element of, I don't know, maybe tactics, or because it's open world as well. It's really strange in like terms of, you can over level like every area in each open field. Each open field itself is set into smaller areas. Right. And these areas will all have like shrines everywhere. Like, it's lousy with shrines for saving and fast travel. Like, there's loads. It doesn't skimp on it. It doesn't make it difficult.
So you don't feel like you're getting punished for exploring.
It's a bit like Lies of P, where the exploration is quite chill, but then the bosses just fucking nail you. But like the world bosses, I didn't find too difficult because I was always over leveled, because you level up so fast. And if you've played Nioh, you'll know that Nioh is like Diablo for loot. Like, it just showers you with loot. Every chest is 5 loot pieces. Kill an enemy, it drops 2 or 3 loot pieces. There's money and ammo and equipment.
How's the management for that nowadays? Because I remember that being a bit of a chore on
Nioh. A little bit clunky. You still just get like a huge menu. And like the first time I opened it, I was about, I don't know, 8 or 9 hours in. I opened the menu because I finally had somewhere to sell, because you need to get to a certain point before you can sell items or break them down or craft. And I got to this point where it was like sell, and I was like, finally. because there's no like inventory limit. It's just I believe it's just like a 999 thing.
So you just got this whole column of shit to get rid of.
Yeah, and I did. So I opened it to sell, and it was just like, and thankfully you can click them all and then like sell it as a bulk, so you haven't got to hold down the button every time. But like, yeah, it's just it throws this stuff at you. So like, I was just kind of overpowered all the time. Like, it was very rare that I wasn't. Like, when I was exploring, I was just like, enemies were going down in 2 hits. Like, I came across mini bosses that would, and because it reuses assets a lot, the same as Elden Ring did with Dark Souls assets. Nioh, all the Nioh games reuse assets. Long used assets from Nioh.
So it feels comfy then.
Yeah, and so you get enemies that you're like, oh, I know how to do this enemy. Like there's these snake women who are a real pain in the ass. That like they paralyze you if they get you right, and but I remembered them from like Nioh 2, and there's a lot of enemies like that. So that combined with the fact that I was just leveling up really quick and constantly increasing my gear meant that the actual open world exploration is just, it's a piece of cake. Like, it's really for that kind of game, whether you want to call it a Souls-like or a Masocore, for that type of game, it was really easy. But then all of a sudden, it would just like the difficulty walls, and I guess they're supposed to be, but some of the bosses were just like, there was one boss I was messaging Adam on, and it was just like I do when I review a Souls game.
That's like your standard, Mick.
And he's expected the Mick Souls by now. He knows it's coming. I've still got emails when we were reviewing Dark Souls 2, I think, when I was just like, this is impossible. No one's ever going to finish this game. This is bullshit. And then like 2 minutes, like 20 minutes later, I'd be like, done it. And like that, and it was
where Adam knows he's like provided code and just waiting that first like 12 hours. Like, when's it coming? Because
he waits for it and he knows. And then he says to me, yeah, he plays along. Yeah, man, that sounds really rough, man. Sounds really rough.
So tough.
Yeah,
God.
Maybe have a break and go back to it. And then I'll message him like half hour later and be like, done it. And he knows it's coming. And it was the same with this. Like, it's the same thing. You hit a boss, and like some of the story bosses aren't difficult, but then there's like, so it tends to like throw bosses at you in quite quick succession sometimes, because in Nioh there's like this, like a dark realm where the yokai are stronger.
Oh, I'd forgotten that was a thing.
Yeah, and like some of the areas, so you'll get to you'll be fighting your way towards a boss, and you know there's a boss coming because it's coming. It's got that, it's got that feel, and you'll get a mini boss.
Giving you the vibes.
So you'll beat the mini boss, and then you'll get like a shrine, and there'll be an NPC, and they'll talk to you for a bit, and it's like, right, and then there's an obvious arena, like Neo's not Soul, like there's an obvious archway or doorway or 2 trees meeting or something. It's like, right, it's like it might as well be a mist door, but it's a boss. So you go in and you do the boss, and it might take you 2 or 3 attempts, and you think, oh, that wasn't too bad, and then you like go through the next bit, and it's like, oh, now you're in a dark realm. And it's a crucible dark realm, and that's a new thing they've added, where these crucibles are just like enemies just keep, like, they'll spawn 2, 3, or 4 waves of enemy, and you've got to beat them all and then destroy the crucible, and it like clears the corruption. It's like that kind of thing. And you'll do a couple of mini bosses, you'll fight your way through, you'll find a shrine, you'll do your thing, you'll kill a boss, and then you'll go into this dark realm, and it's like this big, like a greater crucible, and it's like, fuck, because at the end of that is the proper boss.
So it's not even giving you a chance to breathe.
So I've just done like
go.
I've done these 2 mini bosses, and now I've done this big boss, and I've been like, took me a few attempts, but now I'm like, yeah. And then the next bit is like, no, now you've got to get through this. And like some of it's really like, there were a couple of the bosses that I just couldn't. And I don't think necessarily, like a lot of games, like I said about Code Vein 2 last week, the hitboxes were fucked. And I felt like the bosses were a little bit imbalanced.
Yeah, tracking's horrendous.
Yeah, and I felt like the bosses were a bit imbalanced and unfair. It's not like that. I think Neo's a little bit more balanced and well-made than that. Like, it's a lot more balanced and well-made than that. But like, they're just hard. They just have so many attacks, and everything's got a delay. And there's one boss who's quite, I'd say, fairly early on. But he does like attacks that sort of, so he'll do an attack, but it's not really him doing the attack. It's like a blurred version of him that does the attack, and you automatically try and block it, and then he hits you with the attack, and it's like, and he's got different versions of that a lot, and like he'll do something like after a while, I think it took me about 20 attempts. After a while I was like, I know that, so now it's just like I know not to block now, I'll block in a second, and I got the hang of it. But then like you've also got this thing where if he does hit you, you're fucking dead in like 2 hits or 3 hits. So it's like, so the good
this
thing
feels like the first time you take on Pontiff Sullivan, man.
Yeah, it's like that. But the good thing about this is that you can go away. It allows you to just fuck off and go and level up or grind or like find materials to then go to like this little hub area and get your weapons upgraded, which is what I kept doing. But again, I always find that, especially with games where it's like, I don't mind the grind in a game like Diablo 4 or 3 or whatever. Like I don't like that. That's because that's what the central mechanic is, the grind.
That is the game, isn't it?
But I find that with not necessarily Souls likes, but with games like a third person action adventure game or something like Dark Souls and Elden Ring, I find that it really fucking gets in the way of the immersion for me when you have to stop what you do,
go and take half hour out just to level up some bits
and go and do
again
something else for like an hour and a half, and then come back and be like, am I strong enough now? No. I'll go and do a bit more of this, and in the end, on this particular boss, I just ended up going and just wiping the map because I just
full yourself before you got in there.
Yeah, I just did everything I possibly could before I went back and had another go, and eventually I beat him doing that. But yeah, I find that sort of breaks the immersion a little bit. But it's a really good game, and I think if anybody who's played Nioh 1 and 2, this is a no-brainer because it is an evolution of the series. It doesn't feel like a great removal because it's like, so you could play Nioh 2 and then play Nioh 3 and show somebody this, and they wouldn't know the difference. Like visibly, you won't know the difference. Like it runs on the same engine. It's got many of the same enemies. The environments are the same. I don't think they've tweaked the UI very much from what I could remember. The magic system's the same. Everything is pretty much the same. It's just more of it in Nioh 3.
I feel like maybe the mood of it has changed quite a bit over time because Nioh 1 could be quite serious at times in its sort of historical settings and taking that vibe. That seems to have moved away more into the whole kind of yokai, fantastical end. I mean, that was always there, but it seems to be more prominent.
The first one always was. The first one had a much straighter story because you were a character and you just played his story.
Yeah.
And then Nioh 2 introduced like character creator, and then it became a little bit more freeform, and it was still mission based. Like the first game was mission based, whereas this one, like I said, it's open field. You can go into a shrine and replay areas, replay bosses. They're special. Sometimes you'll do something in an area, and it'll unlock a battle scroll. And when you go into the shrine, you can go and do it as a separate, like standalone mission.
Is there anything like tweaked for it, especially?
Yeah.
This is this, but slightly different because of X.
Yeah, and then it's got like an end game where the new game plus isn't just the same but harder. There's like new stuff in the world. It adds a lot of things to the world, and it creates like a proper end game. And so because you can still continue to level up and increase your abilities, and because there's loads of stuff to like, it's overwhelming. I would imagine it's really overwhelming for a newcomer that's gone from something like an Elden Ring or a Code Vein, and then they pick up Nioh 3 or Nioh 2, and it's like, well, because you've got like this magic, then you've got this other kind of magic, and then you've got these bombs, then you've got some smoke bombs, and then you've got this, which is like a smoke bomb, but it's not a smoke bomb. And then you've got this Spirit Guardian summon, which is like you build up a meter and you literally turn into a yokai yourself, and you get like
cool as hell, man.
Yeah, your tiger or dragon or monkey or whatever spirit animal. And then you've also got like a spirit animal attack that builds a separate meter that doesn't summon the big thing, but you still do a special attack, and there's loads of those to equip. And then you've got like a third kind of summon where you kill enemies and you get soul cores, and then you've got like every enemy pretty much will eventually drop a soul core, and you can level them up, and when you equip them you get a summon and an item, or you get an item depending on, because you've got like a yin and yang slot.
So you've now got a catch 'em all element as as the base game.
Exactly. And then you've also got like a samurai style. Well, every weapon on samurai has got like 3 stances, and then I've got like the ninja style, so I've got magic and throwing stars and buffs and incense, and
Do you still level up each weapon individually as well for each type?
No, but you do become familiar with it. So you do. You increase familiarity with that weapon, and then that increases the damage that weapon does. But then you can also go to the blacksmith and increase the weapon's damage. And
sounds a bit simple for me, to be honest. Like, I'm not sure I can be bothered with something so basic.
It is. I tell you, when you get into it, it begins to make sense very fast. Like, there's a lot of onboarding, and unless you turn the tutorials off, it will tell you tutorial stuff for 60 hours. So you got to decide, like, after a while, you're like, I know how to do a key pulse. And it will tell you when you fuck a key pulse up, the tutorial come up, like even like 40 hours in. And it's like, I fucking know, I obviously made a mistake.
Rubbing it in.
I bet that doesn't rile you at all. Fuck.
And it is a bit annoying. So, but yeah, it's complex and it's really big. But I love it. I really like Nioh 3. I had more complaints with Nioh 3 than I did with Nioh 2. And yet there's more to it. But it's really good. So yeah, if you like Nioh 1 and 2, then this is just a no-brainer. Just go and get Nioh 3. Like, there's no question. If you like them, you will like this. But if you're a newcomer to it, maybe, I don't know, I would even suggest, because it's cheap enough now to pick up the first two, maybe start yourself.
You've got a pack of those two as well, can't you?
Yeah, there's a deluxe edition or something. Yeah. Because the first one had no extras, like no DLC or anything like that, I don't think. But the second one's got loads of stuff. So, but yeah, Nioh 3, it's recommended, highly recommended. I gave it a 9 out of 10. So I would suggest going and getting it, but don't take it lightly, because it's
big games this week. Oh gosh,
yes,
what long games they were.
Imagine if we had a topic to discuss as well.
Surely that's not possible.
I mean, we could have a go. I mean, we'll just pluck a topic out of thin air. Big games. Let's just. It is quite telling, actually, because we have, like, this year has kind of started off with like a bang. Like we were saying a couple of weeks ago that we've got nothing, like there's not much going on, and now, like, I'm playing like other games now, which, you know, I can't say what they are, but they're also fucking enormous. And then I've just done like Nioh 3's. I mean, you could put 60 hours into this easily.
It sounds like you barely scratched the surface at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I did 41. I think it was 41, but like I didn't do loads, because I just couldn't do it anymore. I had to, I just pushed on. And you said, like, Mewgenics, they said it's like 200 hours if you want to see everything, and it's just like Code Vein 2 is another like 40-odd hour game if you want it to be, and it's just like, you know, 2026 is here.
Big games,
the year of big games.
Yeah, but yeah, so big games, 100-hour games in particular, I think. Because how do you define a big game? Because I remember when 15 hours was a big game, because I'm that old.
I guess it depends on, are you defining it by purely maybe a narrative point of view where you can see the whole story and you've done it all within 15 to 20 hours?
No, because I never consider, because I don't know many games that have a big story. Like most games, if you shotgun the story, you're going to be done in 10, 12, 15 hours tops. Like even the Assassin's Creed games, if you boiled them down to just playing the story missions, you'd be done in
that's what I did. I played through almost all of them in 1 year, and I did it by skipping all the side stuff.
Yeah.
Until you get to like Valhalla. Like Valhalla, even without the side stuff, it took me like 50, nearly 60 hours to finish that game.
See, I struggle to skip side stuff. That's my problem. So like a game that could be done in 25 hours becomes 40 hours, 50 hours.
I know if I don't skip it, then I'll never finish the game. So I get to a point where I'll do it for like the first sort of 20 hours. I did it with Ghost of Yote. I did a lot of the side stuff in the first area, and then I realized I'm not going to finish this game if I keep doing this. So
see, I've had to go back. I've had to go back to Yote and then start picking stuff. Like I did with Tsushima, I did the game, and then I went back and finished because I got the platinum. That's what I'm doing now with Yote. But I went back and did it afterwards.
Once I hit credits, I'm done. I don't go back.
The longest one I can think of as a pure sort of narrative drive might be maybe The Last of Us 2, because I think as a single story, that's probably 25 plus hours.
Yeah, I lasted about 7.
I would say JRPGs are probably the obvious
Oh yeah,
Yes.
which isn't in my wheelhouse normally. So
Yeah, if you think of like,
If you think of maybe, if I'm thinking of something off the top of my head with no visual cues, there's maybe Persona 5 that I could maybe think of. That,
Oh, I lasted an hour in Persona 5.
Yeah, well, you could have had 100.
Yeah.
You could have.
I've never finished it. I don't think I ever will. As much as I really like that game, as you can tell by the thing behind me, I'll never finish it just because I've not got 100 hours of that in me.
It only takes a week.
That blows my mind. The fact that you finished that in a week.
That's a wild claim, Lyle.
Yeah, it was a week where I did nothing else, and I took my Steam Deck with me into every room of the house whenever I did anything.
See, the first game I ever did 100 hours on was Final Fantasy VII, the original. I remember because there was no clock. I don't remember if
Is there one on like the save file or something to see?
Yeah, I think there was, because I remember that it definitely. I remember knowing that I cleared 100 hours, and this was like 1996 or whatever. So that was like, or 97, 96. So like 100 hours then was like that was like quite a big deal. That was like, fucking hell, I've played this, and like it took me a long time. I wasn't cramming it or anything, because I didn't play games then like I do now, where I just consume. I just played it for fun, and I played it a lot.
And you only get one a year, Mick, as well. So, you know.
Well, exactly, because, and because I did like the ultimate weapon and Emerald, and I did all the weapons, which took ages, and you had to go and grind. I remember there was like an island with like, where you could spawn 2 T-Rex monsters. I can't remember what they were called, and that was the best way to increase, to get XP. So someone had told me, or I'd seen it in like Games Master or something, that was the best way to grind. So that's what I did. So that took hours, which is probably where I fell in love with, like, because the same year I was also playing like the first Diablo, and like
so you were well into the grind.
And so that was between those two games, that was me, and it was just like I fell in love with that. So, and so like the games that I will spend 100 hours in. I mean, a game like The Witcher 3 took me like, I think I spent 73 or 74 hours in Witcher 3 altogether with the DLCs. And like, so like a big story game, or like something like Yote I was in for 67 hours before I'd finished before I got the platinum. It took me 96 hours to get 100% in Red Dead Redemption, the first one. So like I did this a lot, but unless it's a live service game that I'm into, like Diablo 4, Space Marine 2, Destiny. I mean, my Destiny hours, I think I've got, I want to say 1,400 just on the PlayStation version of Destiny 2. And then I've got like maybe...
Sorry, just the PlayStation version?
Yeah, because on the PC...
You've done how much on others?
On the PC version, it's about 200 and something. Because I went to PC. When I first got my PC, I switched over to... Because the PC version looks better. And then I went back because I had more content on the PS5 version. But so Destiny, I've done easily 1,500 hours in Destiny 2.
I don't know that I've ever quite hit that level to that height, but I know I've got 3 games that I've got over 1,000 hours in, and they are Dead by Daylight, Fortnite, and Sea of Thieves. So they're the ones. Yeah,
Sea of Thieves. I thought you said Sea of Stars for a second. Then.
Oh Jesus! You can really it 10 times.
The only other game I've gone over 1,000 hours on is Monster Hunter World, because I've got 990 something hours on PlayStation, and I've got 400 hours on PC with that.
That is over.
I don't even think I've got that across the whole series, let alone one.
But then, like, even Wilds, I'm on 200 and something hours.
Yeah.
I was with Rise I cleared, because it's those sort of games that I can just endless, and I'll get very switched on to a game sometimes. And like I did at Christmas with Diablo 4, I played another 40 odd 50 hours of Diablo 4 over the Christmas break, because something will click with me and I don't want to play anything else, and I won't play anything else. I'll just play that, and then all of a sudden I'll turn it on and go, and then I'll just turn it off. I'll go and play
snap out of the spell,
and I just don't uninstall those games, because I'm going to go back. And I know I'm going to go back at some point when new content, because that's what live service is, isn't it? You play it and play it and play it, and then a new season drops, or a new DLC drops, or a new update.
There's always something new to do.
Yeah.
I just checked my Xbox Live time on Overwatch 2. It's in days, so I had to convert it to hours. It's about 3,500.
Jesus.
Whoa.
Yeah. See.
Wow. Okay, there we go. That's the winner.
Do we need to get someone for you to talk to about this?
I don't play it anymore. I've stopped playing it.
Okay, few.
But
We're too late.
My biggest one by far is obvious for me. Mine's Isaac, and that's over 1,200 hours, I think, somewhere there. But I'm not the only one in my house who's that bad, because my son, I don't know if I've passed it on to him. I assume at some point I've done it without trying. He's got more hours than me.
Yeah.
It's obscene.
Really?
It's really bad. I think he's got nearly 2,000 hours now.
Yeah. See, my oldest lad's got several hundred hours in Bannerlord. Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord and Dragon's Dogma, the first Dragon's Dogma, which he plays mostly on the Switch. He's done that no end of times, like been all the way through it. He must have hundreds and hundreds of hours on those. And I just think sometimes, because I know some games are built to be endlessly replayable, like something like Diablo 4. You will get bored of it, and it's got this detract. Most people who moan about Diablo 4 are the people who play it constantly, same as like any. But like some games are built to be that, and like they when they're built to be that, they struggle to keep up with the player demand. I think sometimes devs think, we'll release this big update, and then the players have wiped it out inside of like a week.
Yeah.
And the devs are like, we've got empty pockets. We haven't got anything else. You need to fucking wait and slow down. What, you're animals? And I think, but it's weird when you get a game that's not necessarily built for that. Like, it's not a live service. It's just a game that you fucking really, really, really like. So you just play the story multiple times.
Over and over.
Yeah. And like sometimes it won't even have, like I did like Witcher 3. I said it took me 73 hours, but I've played Witcher 3 through on 3 different platforms from start to finish. And I own it on a 4th platform that I just haven't played it. I just bought it because it was in sale.
There's always time,
isn't it?
Because I don't even know if I would call it my favorite game of all time, but it's definitely the game that I've played through from start to finish the most.
Yeah.
This comes back a little bit to our sort of cozy stroke comfy gaming from last discussion, essentially, because you've got things like the cozy genre where something like Stardew, you'll happily go and ditch 500 hours in, and you're kind of doing the same shit over and over and over, but it's just like a warm hug. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that. Like you say, it could be anything. When I was a teenager, for me, it was Tony Hawk's. I must have completed Tony Hawk's 2 at least a couple of hundred times.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Just get in, and you just get into like a little rhythm of come home, right, eat dinner, sit and do a run of this, do something else for a bit, do another run, and that was a night. And then times 5 years. And so you go, I've completed this ridiculous amounts of times.
I've had, there's definitely been games like that for me. There was 1 month where, I mean, and after I'd done it a few times, I decided I was going to do it as long as I could, but where I just completed Lilac Wars, the Star Fox game on Nintendo 64. I completed it every day for a month, and every time I was like, it was the morning and I was going to play it, I was like, yeah, I do fancy this, I'll carry on. Like,
do it again.
I was waiting to see how long it took me, and every time I was like, nah, this is really good, in it. Yeah, I'll just keep going. Just keep going for a month. Why not?
That's the weird sensation when you've been playing a game like over and over again, and then you put your PlayStation or your PC or whatever on to play something else, and you're like, I just want to play that more.
Could
like,
just play that, couldn't I?
Yeah, like I've got a new game to play. I don't want to play that. Although it's like something new on Game Pass, and I've just downloaded it, but like I just want to play Diablo for a couple of hours and fuck everything off. Yeah,
it happens, doesn't it? Yeah,
but that's not
it's sometimes never the ones you expect either.
Yeah. So you've sorry.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, Kieran, did you start 100 line?
Yeah, I finished the first run of it, which took me about 25 hours, maybe. It wasn't that long.
Right.
But it's built for multiple, isn't it? Like that's the idea.
Well, yeah, there's like 100 endings, and it's potentially. I don't know how long each subsequent playthrough is, and you've got the ability to go back and forward in time by the looks, in the timeline to make different choices and things. But it looks like it's going to take hundreds and hundreds of hours to see. If you want to see everything, which I just want to see the real ending, so I'm going to go. I'm going to go that far, I think, and then stop.
I feel like it has 100 endings, but like it has like 10 to 15 really like important good level endings, and then obviously it has like, if you're just going true ending, that's also enough, you know.
Yeah.
But like it's definitely a game where you could, if you were going to be a silly level of dedicated, really go for it. But like it's at least one of those games where it doesn't necessarily punish you for not wanting to be that level of insane. You know,
Are a lot of them like silly endings, like you make the wrong choice and everyone dies, and that's the ending?
there are quite a few silly endings, and some of the silly endings are particularly creative. So there are some good silly endings. I think there are some good guides out there as well that are like spoiler free, just like pointing you in how to do it without like revealing what's going to happen as well. So because
how long are you talking to see the true ending?
I can't remember because I didn't necessarily do the true ending.
Right. Okay.
Like I didn't like focus to get to the true ending because I didn't know how to. You know. Right. So yeah, that is a tough one to answer, but because
it's still going to be a fair bit of dedication to get even to that point.
Oh yeah, I mean it's 25 hours to see the first credits that are like the introduction tutorial. You know, like
you don't even get all the mechanics until the end of that like first run through. Do you? There's like a whole like really important mechanic that just isn't revealed until you've gone through that first set of credits 25 hours in. Yeah, it's it's quite.
So you get your money's
worth
out of it, that's for sure.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Monetary value. If you tie that to time. Because a game like, again, you go back to like fucking hell, it's been 13 years. But like The Last of Us, for example, like the original Last of Us. Yeah. Like I know I knocked The Last of Us 2. I didn't enjoy The Last of Us 2. But The Last of Us 1 is one of my top, I'd say it's in my top 5 of all times. But when that released, and I know we're going back a little bit now, but that was like, it was over in like, 12 to 15 hours, and it was just done. There was no real need to go back and do anything else. I didn't have to go back and replay it. There was no end game. I think they added a multiplayer later on to it.
Did they have the grounded mode at that point, or was that added much later?
I think that was later, and then you had obviously they did the Left Behind DLC, which I went back and played that. I ended up playing the whole game again just because I really liked it. But I don't feel like these days they don't. I think. The difference now is that monetary value, like that was a good game because it was a good game. Like it had a really good story. It was different. It felt like something that was really different at the time. Like we had story-driven games before, but that was on another level. What Naughty Dog did with that game, even beyond like what they'd already done with Uncharted and things. And again, Uncharted is another one where you'd buy the game and it's 15 hours to I think. Uncharted 4 was a bit longer than the others. I think Uncharted 4 was about 20, maybe 25 hours I've spent in that game.
But it's still not a long game, is it, relatively?
No, but I find that like devs so often don't focus that way anymore. Like the Tomb Raider reboots and things that were just like this is the game, and it's like but because now consumers will be like, well, why would I want to spend 60, 70 quid on that game that I'm going to be done within a weekend because that's how I'm going to binge this game, versus like Ark Raiders, like where I can spend 40 quid on Ark Raiders and essentially I've got a game now forever for as long as the devs will keep adding content to it. And I know it's a trade-off because Ark Raiders could shut down tomorrow. Like that's the thing with live service. Like something could happen and it could end. Like, you know, look at something like New World, which is
you never know what's coming, do you?
So like you have that weird thing where I find that games that are created now to be this is your life now, they're really hit and miss, and you don't know what's going to happen. Whereas a game that's just finely made and is designed like a PlayStation exclusive. I know people knock them because they do tick the same boxes, but something like Horizon or Ghost of Yotei or God of War, where it's a single player game, it's 18, but it's so fucking well made, and there's so much in it if you want to look for it, that they can become 40-hour games, they can become 60-hour games, and your value is what you make of it, which I prefer to. Like, don't get me wrong, if a new ARPG comes along or Diablo DLC or whatever, I'm in there straight away. That's what I want that game to be a 100-hour game or 200-hour game. But I find it more interesting when a game is I just want to play it because it's good. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't care that I finished the story and there's not more collectibles to go and hoover up. I just want more of the mechanics and that game feel.
Just want to be in the world sometimes, don't you? Create that whole new universe for you to live in for a little bit longer.
And I just think it's infinitely more difficult for a dev to hit that particular sweet spot, I think, because you don't know what's going to resonate with people sometimes. You don't know look at a game like, I'm sure when Rocksteady started making fucking Kill the Justice League, they didn't know they had a fucking stinker on their hands. You know what? Whatever they set out to make, they thought this was they must have at some point have thought this is going to be good. Whether the studio got involved or what, at some point it was like, everyone's going to love this. It's got Harley Quinn and it's got
everyone must think that for every game they
loot
make.
Boxes and MTX and there's multiplayer in it. People are going to go nuts for this, and then everyone just shit on it really hard. And then like stuff like Concord, that's like that was designed to be live service, and you can count you cannot count the number of live service games that have launched and died within sort of 12 to 24 months on all your fingers and toes. There's so many.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like it's a new thing. It's always been a risk. Like I think it was it what's the guy Cliffy B did, like, was it Lawbringers?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that very good.
And it was like going to be this great. It was I think that was even before Fortnite was what it is. And it was like this is the new game from Cliffy B. He did fucking Gears of War. This guy's got this new, like, a hero shooter. It's going to be this, that, and the other, and it just died like instantly. Yeah. And I think it must be really, really hard to know what's going to resonate with people, no matter, even if something is already kicking. Like Fortnite is a phenomenon, but the amount of people that have gone, well, this is like Fortnite meets something else, and then it's gone 6 months later.
The investors are the one chasing that Fortnite cash, aren't they? Eventually, they're going to keep pushing for it and pushing for it because they think, the money's out there. Look, we've seen what it's done before. But maybe they're just forgetting that there's just that certain little bit of magic behind it that just caught it in that moment. And so you can't just pull out your ass and replicate it every week.
I feel
Go on, Lyle.
I feel like when these service games are being made, they're basically the game creation equivalent of like playing the lottery, where you could win the lottery, but you probably won't win the lottery.
But that's one hell of an expensive ticket, though. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just to me it doesn't make sense a lot of time, because all these games all want all of your time, and that's physically impossible. They're not, you can't all do it. So
it's hard enough to commit to one thing like that, isn't it?
It's why I don't get into games like Ark Raiders, and that's why I don't get into anything that has a strong PvP element, because ultimately, always, I'll be left behind. Like always, I'll eventually end up being left behind. Doesn't matter how much. Like I remember when Titanfall 2 came out, I got into the multiplayer really hard with that from the beginning, and I loved it, and I played it and played it and played it. And then I went away for God knows how long, came back to try and play it again, and I was just like outclassed, didn't know what it was just like, and now it's not fun anymore. And that's why Ark Raiders, I've just dropped off Ark Raiders, because I don't have time to play it. And when I'm hit with the competitive side of it, I just get mulched, and it's just not fun for me to do that. Whereas a game like Diablo, that's just me. I'm only against, the AI.
You be the game.
So I mean, that's why I liked Overwatch so much, is because it was so heavily focused on team play, and you didn't have to be like an expert at killing people to help the team out. You could just be a support character and heal people, and it worked really well. But then when they moved over to 2, they started to make it, it gave everyone more attack power, more speed, more movement abilities. It just became more and more basically deathmatch. And at that point, that was the game done for me.
Yeah, I mean, 3,000 hours later, you were like, well, yeah, not really. Or is it?
And I didn't get my money's worth out of this.
That should have been like an absolute shoe-in as well, given the popularity of Overwatch.
I had friends I played with that every single day. I play with it every single day, and not one of us plays it anymore. And to me, that is a sign of what they've done to that game.
Just tanked it.
Well, there's games like that, and I don't even know. Is Apex Legends still a thing? Because no one talks about Apex Legends anymore. I remember when that
I
was
still dip into that. occasionally.
You know, when it was like always in the news, and then it was always like, there's a new legend coming, and there's a new this coming, a new that. I haven't heard anyone mention Apex Legends in months, and whether I've just been out of touch on that side of the industry or what, or that particular genre. But like some games like are just like for the wrong reasons, but like Destiny 2 is constantly being talked about by somebody somewhere for not always good reasons, but you got to give Bungie some credit that they've supported that game now for 11 years. Well, the franchise for 11 years. Yeah. I mean, Destiny 2 itself is 10 years old next year. And that's just the sequel. And they're still making content. And it might not be great. And people are, you know, people will knock Bungie forever. And they do make a lot. They drop a lot more than they catch. But they have maintained what they said they would maintain. They've done what Blizzard have done with Warcraft and what Epic have done with Fortnite. They've maintained the game that they in the way that they said they would, longer, because they said this is going to be a 10-year journey. Now we're into like year 11, pushing year 12, and they're still producing content for it. But they've done what
they set out to do then?
Yeah, but how do you know? I mean, and they went through dark times. Like, you know, they went through like now, you know, nobody's playing the game, but is
it because those communities become more and more insular over time as well?
Oh, absolutely. The toxicity grows, you know, they become less friendly to newcomers.
People only focus on like the meta nowadays. Like if you're doing anything outside of that, you're basically ridiculed and cast out. And the trouble with something like Destiny is like, yeah, fair enough. I've played, like I said, 1,500 hours in Destiny 2. God knows how many I put into Destiny 1 before that, but 1,500 hours in Destiny 2. And it's like, I like it. I'm still not like good at it. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm still, but that's the thing, because it's constantly, the meta constantly shifts. The way they do builds constantly changes. They keep adding new content and like fucking around with the basic, and it gets to a point where if you have a month out and go back, it's like, my builds are useless now. And it's great to have that, but what's the point? Because I've got nothing to show for what I've done in that game, but billions of just the memories, Mick. It's all you need.
Well, maybe that is all you need. Maybe
it's the friends you made along the way.
They're all dead.
Well,
died playing Destiny.
Well, on that note, then I guess.
Yeah. Cheery note.
On that cheery note of everybody I played Destiny with is dead. They're not actually. Some of them are still alive, I'm sure.
Some. Few of them.
A few of them, yeah. But not the ones that wronged me. But yeah, so we're gonna stop it there, I think, lads, because that's a podcast. And I think it was a good one.
Message.
If I do say so myself, I think it was a very good podcast, and I'm sure all the listeners and viewers will agree.
Yes, they will.
Always is.
So that's that. We're going to go, and we're going to. This is going to be live. I don't know why I'm telling you, but it's going to be live, because if you're watching it, it's already live.
You'll know now. It's literally live.
I will say that these go live on a Monday, so I will tell you that in case it's your first one and you want to keep up. We'll go live on a Monday morning, UK time, and we also have a Patreon. If you'd like to support us, you can go and check out our Patreon. We always like it when we get new members. The old ones are starting to smell a bit. And if you do join our Patreon, you get a couple of exclusive benefits. We do a bonus pod, which goes out on a Wednesday to the patrons, which is usually like this, but a bit sillier. You know, we do sort of fun quizzes and different sort of topics and that sort of thing.
Less dead friends.
Yes, yeah. There's still some. And then there's obviously you can get into the Discord with us, so you can have a chat with us. We're quite I'm not in it much, but we're quite lively in the Discord. You know, Lyle, Kieran, Steve are very,
we're usually hanging around somewhere.
Yeah, very regular in the Discord. You know, there's a lot of different channels in there. They play games together, so just like come and hang out, and then like we said, we'll see what comes in 2026 if we can get some streams going and stuff. But in the meantime, that is us for tonight. So I've been Mick Fraser. He's been Steve Chambers. He's been Kieran Singh, and he's been Lyle Pendle. And you guys have been lovely. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.